Then you can see the transformation of the extensions of the multinationals in the country. Before, they were at least undertaking a modicum of manufacturing, so-called. But in the globalization concept now, the centralization of production in areas where it's least expensive in terms of labor is what happened, is the transformation of their subsidiaries here into mere marketing or trading enterprises. And therefore, they are not contributory to the development of the economy, of providing the technology and the training for and the hiring of more workers. So globalization has been most fully grasped initially by the peasants, because the earlier actions of the government was to repeal a law. 1994, there was so-called a Magna Carta for small farmers. It gives protection for their production against foreign competition. When we signed up with the World Trade Organization in 1995, it required to repeal that law before it became operational. And there were other laws that had to be repealed because of the agreement in agriculture that the country had entered into. I go into this specific because these are the concrete things that can be presented and can be indisputably accepted as correct.
All right, so it's understanding before protesting, a grounding in the understanding of the issues. All right, UP Los Baños is now ready with a question. Professor Rina.
Good afternoon, Representative Ocampo. The first question from UP Los Baños will be given by Mr. Steven Gataselo, a BA Sociology student from the College of Arts and Sciences.
Good afternoon, Mr. Senator Ocampo. Here's my question. Given the historical context that we are in, and given the other means for change, and lastly, given that student apathy in UP is growing, do you think that armed struggle is still effective and relevant?
I would not be interrupted into saying I advocate armed struggle. Because that would put me, it has put me in trouble until now. What I was saying that it is there, it is a reality. The government recognizes it. It's a strong threat to it. Now, even the peace advocates, and it is implicit in the quotation from Anel Fakir back in the 1970s. The reality of armed struggle playing a major part in national development, in trying to address the basic problems, he said, and this is being affirmed now. If the causes of armed struggle are to be addressed properly, then, for instance, in the peace negotiations, they are the subjects of the agenda on peace. It is the conduct of armed struggle that is pressuring government to adopt reforms. Normally, developed countries, it was the movement, for instance, of the left that enabled capitalist countries to adopt some social programs to partially alleviate the conditions of people and to stop the surge of revolution. So, what my answer is that it is there. It is answering itself. Whether the issue now is how long, how soon, or whether, as I said in my lecture, whether you believe or not in its ultimate success, it is there. It is a factor in the continuing debate on how we should address our problems. And to that effect, it is a positive, factor in Philippine political life.
UP Manila, now ready with a question. Professor Doroteo Abaya, please.
Good afternoon po sa lahat ng mga taga-UP, mula UP Baguio hanggang UP Mindanao. Meron pong isang estudyante namin from the Political Science Society na magtatanong kay Representative Ocampo. Si Cherry Aguilar.
Good afternoon po, Representative Ocampo. Having in mind the current rate of UP tuition, we can assume that today, UP students mostly belong to the upper class of society, definitely above the poverty line. Given this change in the composition of UP students, how will student activism persist?
So, given the tuition costs, we can assume that the students of UP mostly belong to the upper class of society, or at least definitely above the poverty line. So given this change of composition, how will student activism persist? The assumption being that because they're upper classes, they're not going to be.
Since the start of the university, I think, and I did say that over 100 years, the majority of students that studied in UP belong to the middle or upper classes. And if activism or new ideas, revolutionary ideas, sprang out of them, and it did not spring mainly only on those like me who came from the poor. It's from the affluent people, but it's the ideas and their immersion into their research or their the orientation of the student activists studying with Kabatang Makabayan to validate their theories. They should live with the struggling peasants and workers, and it's many of them who come from the upper classes became much more vigorously advocating than many from the poor who were primarily committed to their parents to work hard so that they could work and try to redeem or help the family go by. So these are dynamics in Philippine society. It is not automatic that because like me and poor, magiging revolutionaryo ka. No? Kaya ngayon, even nung yung magsalita si Hangel Bakeng noong 1970s, nakapremise niya sabi niya, merong criticism na noon na humina yung revolutionary ferment sa UP kasi dumami raw yung mga mayayaman. Pero anong nangyari? Lumarga ng todo-todo yun. So, it's immaterial whether nakararami. I do not accept as a premise na hihina ang aktivismo dahil marami mayayaman na. Pero totoo yung warning. Destructive yung ngayon, maraming distraction. Kaya yun. But whenever there is small groups who are deeply committed and convinced of their advocacy at hindi sila titigil, yun ang buhay ng revolusyon.
UP Open University, Professor Aleta Villanueva, please.
Magandang hapon po mula dito sa UP Open University. Nandito po kami sa aming HQ sa Los Baños, Laguna. Ito po ang aming katanungan. Paano mapapalalim ang pag-unawa ng mga estudyante sa pangangailangan para sa isang militanteng pagkilos sa panahong abala sila sa pagtulong o pagsuporta sa kanilang mga pamilya?
Palagay ko sinagot ko kanina yun. Yun na nga kasi ang palagi ang nagiging problema ay hindi nawawala yan kasi yung mga estudyante lalo na nga mula sa mahirap na nagpunyagi yung kanilang magulang para mapaaral, so nandun yung kanilang commitment, yung sense of responsibility nila. So marami yung mga nagbantulot ng panahon ng aktivismo. Ito muna nga si Kaswin ko. Pero ultimately, nung lumakas yung movement, pati yung mga yung ganon, ay sila na mismo ang nagsikap magpaliwanag sa kanilang mga magulang kung bakit nung sila ay maging full-time activist, na sinabi nila, ang ginagawa ko ay para rin sa atin at sa aming generasyon na sa susunod. So there are crucial moments where students who hope to be activists have to make a decision. The movement as a whole ay kinoconsider din yan, no, sa pagtagal ng panahon na kung paano habang nakatuon dun sa kanilang mga gawain ay matulungan naman yung kanilang mga pamilya. Ang nagiging tungin yung ino-organisa yung komunidad kung nasan sila, yung organisasyon ng mga mamamayan ng masa ang aasikaso sa pangangailangan ng pamilya. No? Of course, that has not been carried out all over. Pero yun din ang prinsipyo. Ang Revolusyonaryo Kulusan palaging naghahanap ng paraan para tugunan ang mga problema. At ang nangyayari kung pagpasok sa aktivismo, magkikreate ng bagong problema, ay maghahanap din ng solusyon sa problema na yon. Nakatugon ba ako sa sagot sa tanong?
Natugunan daw po ba? Sa OpenU.
Salamat.
UP Baguio sent us a question via Skype. Is the concept of an organic intellectual, meaning one born from the masses, still applicable in the context of the current situation? Is UP or can UP still produce organic intellectuals? Someone born from and for the masses. It's the same premise again.
I don't know kung saan nanggaling yung organic intellectual. Well, organic. Lahat ng mga sinisilang merong angking talino, no? Pero yung social conditions under which pinanganak yan, magdedetermine yung kanyang ano. In my personal experience, no, nanggaling ako sa maliit na bayan. 10 lang ang barangay sa bayan namin. Maliit na bayan kami. Dati kaming isang barangay ng Bacolor. Naging bayan. And doon ako nagsimula sa public school. No? Pero yung exposure ko, yung pagkatingin ko, mismong condition ng pamilya namin, yung pag nakikitungo ang tatay ko rin sa may-ari ng lupa, yung kahit dahil ang nangyari doon, dahil masipag yung family namin, extended family naman, daming sinusuportahan. Hanggang yung mga pamilya rito sa Manila, dinadala ng bigas kapag anihan, ng gulay, etc. No? So, ang dala-dala namin responsibilidad ay mabigat. Kaya hindi rin na kami nakakaangat. So, without even that very experience, nagbuo na sa akin ng isang consciousness yun. Nung mabasa ko dun sa mga libro, high school ako, nagbasa ng Book of Knowledge and everything, lalong nare-reaffirm yung aking mga